Thank y'all for coming. It's going to be, I don't know if we can get this fixed or not, Mark. I guess it's going to be a little different this year, but again, our schedule is pretty tough. We open up, go to Virginia. We come back and play Louisville. I think they've been preseason ranked number 2. We've got Georgia Tech coming in. We got Arizona State coming in. I think they're ranked in the top 10 in the country. And then Central Michigan, Ohio, and Tulane. So we got a pretty good home schedule this year. As far as we got to go to Kentucky and then go to Missouri State, and then we've got Austin Peay coming in here, and we got to go to Tennessee Tech. So our non-conference schedule is probably as tough as any I've had since I've been at Middle Tennessee. And, we'll see with the team that we've got, we're pretty much top-loaded with some experience. We've got one or two positions that we're looking at trying to work some of our younger players in. We've got 7 young ladies that kind of they're inexperienced. We got three sophomores and 4 freshmen. They're very talented, but they've got to get out of their high school mode, and we've got to get them into the Division I mode, and that's tough sometimes. Sometimes it takes a couple of years to do that. But we're wanting it. We're frustrated a little bit as a coaching staff because we want it right now, and they're frustrated a little bit as players because they want it right now. And in this type of situation or this type of setting, sometimes nothing takes the place of experience.
Last year, Kermit Davis said that overseas trip to the Bahamas really helped that team bond together and grow ahead of the season. You guys took an overseas trip to Costa Rica. Tell us a little bit about that, and do you feel like it could have the same effect this year for the women's?
I don't think so, Aldo. And one of the reasons I say that, I know Kermit's got his way of doing things, but we developed some bad habits leading up to that tournament and leading up to that trip, rather. And then when we got down there, we were better than the teams, and we just kind of relied on what we knew and threw our younger players in there. And, I don't really know that I liked it, to be honest with you. Now, the players had a great time. It was a great experience. They got to go places and do things that they probably would never get to do the rest of their life. As far as that was concerned, as far as us bonding, yes, that would be the positive. But the negative would be I don't know how much it prepared us for this year.
Which, like you said, you have quite a few younger, inexperienced girls. How important is this tough non-conference schedule to get them acclimated to the college game kind of right away?
Well, it can do one or two things, and we can go in one or two directions. We can have some success, and we can be ranked in the top 15 in the country, and that's big. Or it can kill a program off if you're not careful. It can beat your players down. You lose a game or two maybe that you thought you could win. So you're walking a fine line there. And so in our case, that's kind of where your coaching staff comes in. They got to lean on the coaches. And, and we've got to really be on point in every one of those games as far as our scout goes. Most of those teams that we're talking about, if you just want to talk about pure athleticism, they're going to be probably a lot more athletic. Probably a little taller, maybe a little bit more lateral quickness. But when you come back to basketball IQ and you come back to our system, I think our system and our basketball IQ could give some of those programs some problems.
Coach, could you tell us about the three-point shooting? You had Bria Edwards last year, who was one of the top three-point shooters in the country. Who's really stepped into that role? I mean, I know it's hard to replace production like Bria, but who's really stepped into that role as one of the go-to three-point shooters?
Well, we've got a little drill we call 11-man, and when we were winning the conference, I don't know, we won the Sun Belt I don't know how many times, and we won the Conference USA as soon as we came in it. And with those teams and that drill, I think we were getting somewhere around the high 40s, maybe early 50s in that drill as far as points are concerned. This team already scored in the 80s, if you can kind of relate to that. That's pretty big, and they're consistently in the high 60s and in the low 70s. So three-point shooting, Abby Sissom and Ty Petty, which you're going to talk to the two, I don't know that I've ever had any two that when they're on task or they're focused that shoot the ball any better than them. Now go back to Bria. Bria did more than just shoot. Bria was a great rebounder. She got 8 rebounds a night. She was able to defend on the perimeter. She was able to defend a smaller 4, a post. She passed the ball great. She handled the ball. She was able to slash. Even though she was not real quick, she was very wise and had a great basketball IQ. Now, I've got a lot of players that can do a lot of different things, but I haven't got one player that can do all what Bria Edwards did. So she's going to be pretty tough to replace, and that's why, right now it's kind of what we're looking for, someone that can come in, maybe shore up a couple of those areas anyway.
You had such good production from Alex Johnson as a true freshman. What are your expectations from her going into her sophomore year, and do you have any freshmen that you think could have a similar impact this season?
Well, my wife gets on me all the time because a lot of people ask me when I'm out. And, I'm from Shelbyville originally. I'm from Woodbury and then Shelbyville, now Murfreesboro. And I've been involved with the horse industry over there a lot. And your big-time horses are your world grand champion stake horses. Well, Alex Johnson's a stake horse. And my wife gets on me all the time about that because she said she's not a horse. She's a filly, but I'm telling you, she's a big-time player. And she does, the last week in particular, she's just, if you looked at her coming out of the weight room, she does not look like a freshman like she did last year. And when we get her the ball, when she gets ready to score, she scores. You go back and look at Florida State. Florida State ended up beating Texas A&M. They had them down like 40. And at the end and we took a gamble with Bria and the ball went in twice, or we'd have been down 1 at the end of the third quarter. They never slowed Alex Johnson up. And so that kind of gives you an idea of their post players. They were Gardner with 6'5", 6'6", 6'2", that were athletic as all get out. And she was holding her own as a freshman. So we are expecting great things out of Alex this year, to be honest with you. We're going to get her the basketball. She's got a great supporting cast around her. Gabby Lyons started most of the year. Becca Reuter's come on and is doing great. Jordan Majors has stepped her game up. We've got a young freshman by the name of Charity Savage out of Memphis that, to be honest with you, we're trying to find a place to get her on the floor right now, but she's probably our most athletic player. And so if we had to play her, I think she could very well be up for Freshman of the Year again this year. Charity Savage could, but I don't know if she's going to be able to knock one of those young ladies out that's in front of her right now. But that's a good problem to have. We might even entertain moving Charity out on the perimeter, to be honest with you. But, to answer your question there, that we're really high on Alex Johnson.
Coach, we've seen Rebecca Reuter in the post. Is there any chance this year we see her at a different position?
We've talked about it, Aldo. We talked about it not more than 30 minutes ago in one of our coaches' meetings. Becca's a utility player. We think that she could possibly pull out there on the 3. She can shoot the 3-point shot pretty good. She's a coach's daughter. She's got great IQ. I thought she ended the year last year being very aggressive at the post and was very happy with how she finished up. I just don't know about moving her out there right now, to be honest with you. I would like not to have to move her out there. I would hope that one of our other 7 players that we talked about, a couple of them would step up. But if we get into the 2 or 3 days before, she's the type of player that you can reach down and say, hey, we're going to start you at the 3 tonight and give us all you got. And she'd do that.
Coach, it seems like obviously Ty Petty, being your only senior, is your biggest leader on this team. What other players have stepped up early on here to join her?
Well, Ty is the best point guard I've had in 40-something years. And I've had some pretty good point guards, not only here but also at Shelbyville, that went on and played big-time basketball. Ty's got to step her leadership up a little bit more. She's got to get a little bit more vocal on the floor. She's doing everything that we want right now. And we're very proud to have her. I think it showed that she was selected first team preseason. I think the young lady that's going to get to talk has probably stepped her game up. One of the things we talked about this morning in our coaches meeting, that every time that we've challenged Abby Sissom to up her game in a different area, you know, when I recruited her, a lot of people said she couldn't play defense. Well, in high school, she didn't have to play defense because she didn't need to get in foul trouble. I've done that for years and years and years. You wouldn't take your best player that you couldn't do without and have her guard somebody on the other team that was their best player. So I know what Michael Dodgen was doing in Cannon County with her. But when she got here, one of the things we challenged her with, you got to play D. And she became our best defender last year on the perimeter. She stepped her game up. We're going to challenge her again on rebounding. We need Abby going to the board and hopefully getting around 4 rebounds a night. That would really help us out. But I would say that she's probably stepped her game up as much as anybody. And, you know, we're really, really happy how far she's come already, and she's got 2 more years left. I wish we had 2 more years at a time.
Coach, I know you talked about the development of these freshmen. Is there any chance at all, either halfway through the season, you know, they get onto the court? Or have any of them, particularly individually, shown any progress?
Oh, yeah, although there's a chance that one of them will be starting against Virginia. So, you know, I would be a happy camper if that was the case, to be honest with you. The next we got 2 weeks from Thursday before we leave to go to Virginia. And I would be very happy when we step to get on that plane if I thought one of those young ladies was going to be playing that 2 or that 3 position. And there's a chance that could happen. You just got to pick up defensively.
Jordan Majors and Jess Laura, 2 freshmen you had last year, didn't log a lot of minutes. You mentioned Jordan's taken a big leap. Will they be figuring in more into the rotation as sophomores?
Jordan has really come on. More than we thought she would. We knew that we probably, when she became a junior, we'd have a pretty good player. We got a pretty good player right now. She's really stepped her game up a lot. She's very intelligent. You know, she was MVP of the AA state championship game. So we knew she's got it in her, and it's just up to us to get it out. But she's really had a great preseason already. And Jess Loro we brought her in as a shooter, and she is. She's you know, as my son says about Jess, it doesn't quit spinning when she catches it. It hadn't quit spinning yet before she's already released it. So, you know, but releasing it, you got to knock them down. And she's working on that hard and heavy, and also working on the defensive end. But we're excited to have her also. We think she might be one that would start.
Conference race won't start until New Year's Day, but it looks like a couple of old rivals are going to be right at the top. Could you handicap right now how things look from kind of a 10,000-foot view
With the
league,
with the conference? I think, you know, I like kind of what the way they came out. I thought us and Western Old Dominion would be right there in the mix. I also thought Charlotte would be pretty good, and I think that's the way it came out. Now I think some of the coaches are thinking maybe San Antonio may be somebody that would step up. UTEP's got 2 guards that were awful good last year, so you got to keep an eye on what they're doing. UAB, I think Randy does probably as good a job as anybody in the conference, and you know, every year he comes in and he has some big wins, and you got a whole new coaching staff at La Tech, and La Tech's got a lot of tradition. So, you know, I would think, and Matt did a good job at Marshall last year. So, you know, it's going to be competitive. One of the things I've said about Conference USA, and I would say probably Kermit would say the same thing, is from the top to the bottom, it's very, very competitive. The toughest team that we have matching up against is FAU. They run so much motion, and they shoot the 3 so well that I think they averaged 13 threes last year in a game. So that's tough for us to match up with. So, you know, there's not anybody on our schedule that we can really take for granted. I think what gives them problems with us is our system. I think we know what we want to do. We execute it, and then, you know, our kids are able to knock down free throws, and we got a good point guard, and we got some great post, and that kind of gives, you know, people know what we're going to do, and that kind of gives them problems.
ODU's head coach said she considers Middle Tennessee a new rival, considering how last year ended in the conference tournament. I know Western is obviously MTSU's main rival, but do you feel like there's something brewing there with Old Dominion as far as a friendly rivalry as this conference looks to build them?
I don't know that there would be any more of an important game than UAB. Western is a rival that's been around a long time. I think, I don't really know what our record, Tony knows this, I think we played them, 18, 19 times, and I think, or maybe 21 times, and we won 18, they won 3. I like that rival. They probably don't like it, but I like it, Yeah. Be sure you get that on the air, guys,
Anything else for Coach?
Thank y'all. Thank y'all very much.